Hey everyone, it's John here from RPO Bay Hockey, back with another video, and today's video is going to be my 2020 NHL mock draft as it stands today, and this is going to be a little bit of a different one, different than how other people do it. I'm going to use cap friendly, and we're going to see the top 3 lottery results, and then from there 1 to 15, how I see it going in terms of rankings, but I'm also going to take into account which team is going to take which players. So obviously positional needs could be a question mark there, but obviously I'm going to go for best player available for the most part. So if you are here and you are new to the channel, please subscribe, give the channel a chance, smash that like button, and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. So it's going to be a pretty quick and straightforward video, but let's have some fun with it. So the top 3 lottery results, let's see. Minnesota Wild. Wow, hot take right off the bat. Number 2, New Jersey Devils. Okay. And number 3, Nashville Predators. Are you kidding me? So hot takes right off the bat. I love it. All right, so let's run with it. All right, so if we're talking about number 1, Minnesota Wild, they've actually been pretty good. I would say the second half, a lot better, and they weren't expected to make the playoffs, but they were really close. The Preds, the same thing. I had them as a Stanley Cup contender, or at least a playoff contender at the start of the year, and they just haven't shown that. So if both those teams manage to get top 3 picks, that would be insane. It would be kind of like a Philadelphia Flyers, Nolan Patrick scenario where you make that huge jump in the lottery. So let's save that lottery and ride with that. So number 1, Minnesota Wild. I don't think we need to talk about it too much. Alexis Lafreniere, I think that would be obviously a huge addition for the Minnesota Wild. You're talking about already having a lot of established players, and I think that Zucker trade, you're bringing in Addison and an additional first-round pick. The Minnesota Wild have a lot of opportunities to translate into next year and have an opportunity to be contenders for a while, and if they got Alexis Lafreniere, that would definitely give them a step and obviously accelerate that retooling period for them and what Bill Guerin is trying to do with that team. So Alexis Lafreniere would be huge for the Minnesota Wild, but obviously I think I'm wearing my Red Wings jersey right now, and for a lot of other scenarios, other teams probably deserve it more, I would say. All right, number 2, New Jersey Devils. So they get a top 2 pick, and obviously Nico Hischier, Jack Hughes, they get an opportunity to get a legit player. And I think for the Devils, they already have guys at the middle. I think they're going to go for a guy that could potentially play on the wing. So I think it would be Stützle or Raymond. Stützle can play both positions, but I'll go Stützle here. I think Stützle's really jumped up in terms of the rankings. At the start, he was barely in the top 10 at the start of the year, and then he made his way into the top 10. He had a good showing in the World Juniors, and now people are saying he could overtake, obviously, a guy like Quentin Byfield, but even a guy like Lucas Raymond. So he could make 2 jumps and go into that 2 spot. Some people are saying Lucas Raymond could be there. I think for the most part, it is Quentin Byfield still in that number 2 spot, but I think for the New Jersey Devils, looking at obviously Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes, they might want to go winger. So Tim Stützle, we'll see who or where he can develop as, and obviously for a guy like Leon Draisaitl, I wouldn't say a comparison in terms of style, but Leon Draisaitl has played time in the wing and has played time in the center, so that could be a scenario for Stützle. If I could go an NHL comparison, it would probably be a guy like Claude Giroux or like a playmaker style like that. I think Stützle's very good in terms of that two-way game, and obviously he can score too. So Stützle number 2. Number 3, I'm going to go Quentin Byfield to the Nashville Predators. You know what? I think the Preds have enough centers right now, but I think if we're talking about David Poile not trying to make a mistake here, trying to go with a bigger body, and Quentin Byfield can be that. And obviously the Preds have a lot of skill up front. They haven't been that established offensive team, especially in the last few years. Bringing in a guy like Quentin Byfield, I think that can be very beneficial for them. And I think the Preds have always had a very steady organization in terms of their development. So I think Quentin Byfield could benefit from that. And it's not like this huge stage either. I think he could benefit also from more of a low-key. The Preds have a huge market in itself, but obviously in the bigger picture, they're not known as a hockey city. I think Quentin Byfield can benefit from that versus going to a team like the Red Wings and have those expectations of trying to bring that team back into being a playoff team. I think Lucas Raymond would be a guy that Yzerman would select there. Stevie Y selecting Lucas Raymond at number 4. He's got that skill, that offensive potential. He's got that legit NHL shot. There has been some defensive questions with both the Swedes. I'll talk about Holtz as well. But I think Lucas Raymond's got that top 5 potential for skill, and I think he will go into the top 5. So the Sens getting back-to-back picks, number 5, number 6. I think they're going to go forward and defense, especially in this kind of scenario. I'm going to go very big hot take. I'm going to go they select Marco Rossi. So You're talking about the number one in terms of points in the OHL. He's put up those numbers. I think they could go Jamie Drysdale at number 5 and then Marco Rossi at number 6. So I just said it. Jamie Drysdale. If it is a scenario like this, I could see Rossi and Drysdale go 5 and 6 for the Sens. And I think at number 7, the LA Kings, I'm going to go Anton Lundell. So I think for Lundell, he gives me kind of Kopitar vibes, and I think him going to the LA Kings could benefit him. Kopitar could mentor him. He could be behind Kopitar in terms of either being that second line or third line centerman when he does enter the league. And he's got a lot of maturity. He's a big centerman. He's very defensive reliable. Most defensive reliable player, I would say, in the top 10, obviously other than the defenseman itself. But I think he's a legit player. He's going to be, I would say, he's probably the safest pick in the top 10 in terms of floor. Like, I would say Lundell is for sure going to be a top 9 player. Obviously, outside of Lafreniere and Stützle and those kind of guys, I think outside of that, he's the safest player. And I think he could benefit with going to the LA Kings. There's some offensive question marks, but I would go with Lundell going. I mean, he could go close to top 5, but I would definitely say like top 7, top 8, you're going to see Lundell go. Number 8, Anaheim Ducks. I'm going to go Alexander Holtz. I think the Ducks are always go-to right on paper. Who's the most skilled? I would see them selecting Alexander Holtz. Holtz has dropped a bit. I mean, a lot of people talked about Holtz being top 5. He's dropped a bit. Again, defensive question marks, but he's got that legit skill. We saw how Holtz and Lucas Raymond played in the World Juniors for Sweden. So I'll go Holtz at number 8 to the Anaheim Ducks. And then the Buffalo Sabres fall all the way to 9. That's pretty insane. Where are they going to go? I think they could go a guy like a Askarov, but I'm going to go Cole Perfetti. I think add more skill in that offensive group. So I'll go number 9, Buffalo Sabres, Cole Perfetti. Number 10, Montreal Canadiens. You know what? I'll go a little bit of a hot take here and go Dylan Holloway. I think they're going to go with a forward here with their pick. I could also see them going for a guy like Dawson Mercer. I think the thing with the Montreal Canadiens is they're hoping they'll go into the top 5 and get a guy like Lundell or get a guy like Marco Rossi. So it will be unfortunate for, both the Montreal Canadiens and Sabres if they can't get into that top 5, and obviously that is in terms of standings. You either win the lottery or go back to your spot. So I don't know, but I'll go Montreal Canadiens, Dylan Holloway. Number 11, Chicago Blackhawks. I'll go Askarov here. There's a huge gap between goaltending. Askarov's all alone is the best goaltending prospect. And obviously for the Blackhawks, there's question marks. Were they going to make the trade with the Islanders? Were they going to re-sign Robin Leonard? Those things haven't happened, and obviously sometimes you just got to take your fate in your own hands. And I think drafting Askarov could be the smart move for the Blackhawks for their goaltender of the future. Number 12. I'll go Noel Gunler. He's number 12 here in terms of who I can pick. The thing is, this is going to take some time, and the Devils are getting Stützle here. Stützle's got a huge potential. Gunler was in the top 10, I think, at the start of the year for some mock drafts. I'm going to take him at number 12 here. This might be a little bit of a project. His shot will probably create some translation into the NHL, but there are some question marks on how long he will take to pan out and if he will pan out. But he's got a legit shot, and that was the Coyotes pick in the Taylor Hall. So Gunler and Stützle, I think that would be pretty good coming out of the draft. But again, I think it is a huge risk with Gunler. He's a bit of a project. 13, Florida Panthers. I'll go Dawson Mercer. I think with Mercer, he was a little bit of a sneaky selection into the Team Canada World Juniors roster. Mercer's very versatile. He's very sneaky with his hands. So I like Dawson Mercer a lot. I think he'll definitely be in the top 15 in my opinion. We'll go 14 and 15 here, Canucks and Flames. I'm going to go a little bit of a hot take here with Jeremy Poirier. I think with this guy, he's got very good hands. Across the blue line, he's got very good IQ. The possession numbers for him are there. So Poirier, I think he has to be, I wouldn't say like a Jake Gardner-esque, but kind of like that. He roams free a lot. He's got to kind of do his own thing sometimes. So obviously, I think the potential is there, but it's going to take a lot of development for him. There's defensive issues there. He's got a lot of offensive instincts, and he kind of ignores the defensive responsibility. So he does roam free a lot, but I do think the potential is there. So I think he could sneak into the top 15. And then I think Connor Zary or Justin Barron, for me, maybe closing out the top 15. Zary was really consistent throughout the whole year, and he started heating up. I think with Justin Barron, he had injury issues. He came back for the Halifax Mooseheads. So What's the team here? Calgary Flames. I'll go forward with Connor Zary, Canadian boy, 6 foot, 180. So Connor Zary, why not? So Alexi Lafreniere, Stützle, Byfield, Raymond, Rossi, Drysdale, Lundell, Holtz, Perfetti, Holloway, Askarov, Gunler, Mercer, Poirier, Zary. So if I could just look at my picks here, I mean, maybe a couple of corrections or maybe alternate situations. I could see Mercer going even higher. Holloway might be a little bit of a reach for the Montreal Canadiens, but we've seen them take chances. Again, I think for the Montreal Canadiens and Buffalo Sabres, obviously it's more ideal. They would want one of those. And like the thing is, I would say after that top 9, there's a lot of question marks in terms of forwards. I mean, or top 8. I mean, Perfetti, Holtz, Lundell, Rossi, Raymond, Byfield, Stützle, Lafreniere. I think all of those, obviously for a couple, we're talking about franchise or like top players for your team. But I would say closing that out, all of those players are legit top 6 forwards for the future. So Perfetti and Rossi, we've seen what they've done in the OHL. Quentin Byfield, can he stay consistent? Injuries are obviously a question mark. Didn't show in the World Juniors. Stützle's got real potential to be a number 1 star. Obviously, that's like we're going to have to see with that one. That's a big question mark, but his potential is like number 2, the highest potential after Lafreniere. And then Lucas Raymond, I think, is right there as well. Jamie Drysdale is probably the best defenseman in this draft, I would say. I don't think there's argument there. And I don't know if he's going to be a top pairing defenseman, but I think the potential, again, we saw his hands in the World Juniors and that one goal where he came across into the center. So Drysdale's got that potential as well. So let me know what you think. I thought it would just be fun to kind of go through a mock draft here and a lottery. And I mean, the Minnesota Wild selecting Lafreniere, I think would be pretty crazy. Let me know if you guys think we're going to get a crazy result. If we're going to get like a Philadelphia Flyers jumping into the top 2, Nolan Patrick, that was insane. I think the Minnesota Wild and Nashville Predators, I think they are more far along than a lot of these teams. I think the Minnesota Wild, it remains to be seen. But for the Preds should be a playoff contender right now. They are way too good on paper. So if they jumped into the top 3 and selected a guy like Byfield, that'd be pretty crazy. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you are new. Smash that like button. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. This was John from Hot Take Hockey. Have a good one. Peace out.